We all know that before you put a shovel near the ground, planning before you dig is critical to making sure we don't hit any underground infrastructure. When it comes to pipelines specifically, there are a number of rules one must follow to be safe. Failure to follow these rules can mean serious injury or death. It can mean a loss of oil, gas, or communication services to your communities. It can also mean environmental damage, which can negatively impact our health and safety. In Saskatchewan, maximum fines for incidents causing serious injury or death are $500,000 for an individual and $1.5 million for a corporation, the highest in Canada. If you have an incident, it could mean a serious hit to your reputation, damage to your equipment, and you having to foot the bill for repair costs. It can also mean possible negative media coverage.
We offer line locating services for NEB, National Energy Board regulated pipelines. An NEB regulated pipeline is any pipeline that crosses provincial borders or the Canadian-US border. The pipeline companies will purchase the rights to a right-of-way or a piece of land for the purpose of putting a pipe down, maintaining and operating it. When the land is purchased for that reason, it now becomes an NEB regulated piece of land. So there are a lot of requirements to make sure the land is protected, to make sure the pipeline is protected, and to make sure people living and working around the pipeline are protected. Well, I think a lot of times when you go out into a field and you're looking at developing a project, you look around for the lay of the land, sloughs, bushland, that sort of thing. But there's also above ground structures. There's poles near the roadways that designate pipelines. So there's a lot of things out there that will tell you that there's buried facilities.
This is a telltale sign. It has things like high pressure gas line, 1-800 emergency number, do not remove, subject to fines and federal law, and the pipeline company. These are typically along grid roads, highways, fence lines, tree lines.
The pipeline company that I'm working for today, they have to know that I'm out here. They have to know what quarters I'm working in and what first call tickets I'm responding to in order for their records and in order to make sure that I'm safe and obviously their pipeline is safe.
So with the first call, I come out to site. I put in a yellow stake representing a natural gas pipeline. This stake represents very close to the center of the pipeline. From there, I go over and mark out the right-of-way, which is marked out in pink. The right-of-way on both sides of the pipeline is the NEB regulated zone. Traffic, ground disturbance, any other activities such as that cannot take place without an agreement with the pipeline companies.
Within a right-of-way, there could be one pipeline, there could be several pipelines. Each line will be located separately. So if there's 7 pipelines, there will be 7 lines located with yellow stakes.
Going from here is the prescribed zone or the safety zone, which is 30 meters off the center of the pipeline.
It really represents the edge of the right-of-way because different requirements are in place for inside the right-of-way as opposed to outside.
So this is the end of the prescribed zone or safety zone. This area is still regulated by the NEB, National Energy Board, and requirements are still needed to cover this off.
Typical farming practices are completely allowed. Pipeline companies don't want to restrict agriculture farmland from being used. In order to put the pipe in the ground, there's a lot of studies done to make sure that the agriculture equipment being used today will not impact that pipeline. If they want to put a dugout in, they need to have an agreement. If they decide they need to install a fence across the right-of-way, that requires an agreement. If a contractor comes in to do any work, again, an agreement is required between the pipeline company and the contractor. Stockpiling isn't allowed on a right-of-way. Removing any soil isn't allowed on a right-of-way. And the reason for that being is that soil is there to protect the pipeline. An agreement, once it is executed, is good for 2 years. So don't leave it till a week or two before you're ready to start the work. Give them time to get it in place. There's questions, there's a bit of conversation that has to go back and forth on what kind of equipment's being used, what's being done. When I have first call dispatched to me, I call the person that requested the first call. I want to know what type of activities they're undertaking. I want to know if the site has been pre-marked by them. I want to know if a site visit has to be made. Once I get the site, I've got to be well aware of what activity is going to happen so I can put my stakes in the ground to be the biggest benefit to them. Following that, I need them to know what those stakes mean. My expertise falls in the lines of what's running in that pipeline and how dangerous it is. We're all out there for the same reason. We're all part of the same team. At the end of the day, we want a safe and effective, efficient project. I'll be there to help you out, and I'll be there to keep you safe.